What's up, everybody? It's Sempervarus here. So, in the recording of this video, we actually had some issues with the audio, in an ironic turn of events, actually. So, for those of you who do watch my channel, I did upload a video about the new microphone that I got, which so far has been fantastic, but in doing so, like installing the microphone into the setup, we brought in a couple other things, changed some variables around, and then decided to try and switch over to some headphones as well. Dorman brought a USB-based DAC. I've got a 10-port splitter. Just USB plugs plugged everywhere, video being dumped everywhere, and trying to simultaneously upload to his Twitch stream. Not sure where in the pipeline it happened, but halfway through recording about an hour and 11 minutes, actually, of video, we started getting this really obnoxiously loud, crackling, hissing sound. So what we're going to do here instead is I'm just going to talk over this video for a little bit. I'm going to compress the entire recording down, and then from here on out we're just going to record and make sure we get some clean audio. As far as what happens goes, you can pretty much make it out here, but takes me a couple tries, I think 2 tries, before I take down Mantis, and got some tips from Dorman after he went home and came back. I have to say, though, this part was incredibly frustrating because once I came back to it, it was really, really easy to do. One of the suggestions was to keep the infrared on, which I had tried initially, but it seemed incredibly difficult. What I didn't realize was that Mantis is much more visible, particularly when he's invisible on the infrared display. So that helped a lot. And then keeping my position instead of, what is the word I'm looking for? Instead of just kind of jumping around and running a circle, not a word, a phrase, I guess. Instead, just holding my position and going for it seemed to work really well. Also maintaining my rations, which is, I guess, always good. And it appears it actually took me a couple more tries than just the 2. I'm recording this as I'm watching through the video. Or the hideo. Yeah, and right about there is where you see I start taking the infrared advice. The other thing I started doing was to reserve my actual ammo instead of just going full burst and trying to spray the room. Preventing me from having to rely on the drops. And there he went. And now he goes into an emotional speech. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to enable the ability to slow this video down, if you like, so you can actually change the speed so you can read through what he's saying, or you can optionally just hit the pause button on the video. But what it boils down to is that, you know, he was selfish his whole life, his dad did something bad to him, and then Snake was the only one that ever cared about him or some crap, so he's gonna help him out and tell him where to go. But his last dying breath is he wants to be alone, so they gotta put the mask on to suppress his powers or whatever. Because he doesn't have full control over them. And the sliding bookcase. Doing the obligatory save. Calling Otacon to try and get food again, because that's what he promised us in the beginning. However, so far I haven't had that work yet. Bit frustrated about that. Use the night vision. So in this part, I guess I had to backtrack to go and get a bunch of stuff. If it's one thing that I hate in games, it's backtracking. Unless it's open world, like The Elder Scrolls or Guild Wars 2, or any MMO or single player. Unpopular opinion, actually, I never really could get into the Fallout 3, or actually any of the Fallout games, really. I'm not quite so sure what people see in those, but that's like the one open world game that I just can't stand. Yeah, so this part is, this particular part here with the dogs was sort of frustrating. As a not very good and very new Metal Gear Solid player, still struggling with getting used to the controls, especially since I never, I played on the PlayStation 1 a lot when I was over at my grandmother's house as a kid, but it was strictly there, and otherwise I was all console games and PC, or sorry, not console, Nintendo consoles and PC games. Yeah. So, somewhere here soon, after I stop being a lost idiot, and getting myself killed, wasting all my rations, Dorman explains about, I think right there is where I attempted it, but Dorman was explaining about a box, or the puppy peeing on the box in order to make those dogs not want to kill me. While this looks awful on the video, I couldn't really remember where I was going half the time. It seems really obvious now that I'm watching it, and I kind of feel really stupid, but it just, I don't know, it's hard to see for me on a low resolution after being used to 1080p for so long. But either way, it's still a good nostalgic feel. I think one game that I'm going to have to get a hold of at some point is Pandemonium and Pandemonium 2. Not sure if it's the nostalgia goggles or something, but I remember those games being really good on the PlayStation 1. That and Spyro. Alright, and here's Meryl. Apparently I had to punch her to get the dog to pee on me, because he doesn't like that. So as you can see, Meryl gets shot by a really nasty sniper in the back. Well, not in her back, but in the back of the room. And then you gotta backtrack and get the sniper rifle and other various things. Oh yeah, I believe I mentioned that I had to backtrack earlier. That was when I attempted to leave the room. Now I actually do have to do the backtracking. And this part was particularly frustrating because of the lack of the radar. I couldn't see the mines, so I tried to follow the path, but, you know, what can you do? Yeah, I tried to fit underneath with the box, but it just wasn't working. It actually pulled the dogs through, because they smelled me, and they're like, want some of that. So here I tried to, I thought I had figured something out where I was able to just pick up rations infinitely, or at least you'll see in the future part around that door that I just exited from the sniper room. And the rations had showed up and I kept trying to game it for a minute, but then I got frustrated. So if only Otacon would bring me food like he said he would. I'll have to go look that up and see how to trigger that, because that's a really useful tool. So, trying to make it across the snow yard again. This time with infinitely more cameras. And mines and junk. I guess they decided they needed to up the security because I snuck past them the first time. Nabbing all them claymores. So there's going to be a bit of an up and down here. I also realized at this part that the lasers disappeared, which was nice. So I go down to the bottom floor looking for that gun. Don't find it because I check every room except for one, then go back upstairs, which was due to Dorman's excellent instruction. Then I finally came back down and found it, but you'll see in a minute. Of course, with my myriad of game overs, this would go a lot quicker without them. Right about here, I get frustrated. He says that there's a door that I'm going to find it behind that I haven't gone through yet, so I go all the way back there. I die. I actually found something new, so I attempt it again. Which was the camera, I believe. I haven't used it yet, so no idea how it works. Probably going to be useful for the sniper fight somehow, like being able to see where the sniper's at from one angle. So, for those of you who are watching, I appreciate your viewership. One thing that I would like to know, though, is I have been cutting these videos a bit longer, like in the half-hour range. So, in the comments below, let me know how you like the length of the shorter video, and how you like the annotation instead of the live voice recording. And again, thank you all.